Hey everyone, this is Scrap Computer here. This video is going to cover 9 100% tips on getting higher elo, or what I feel are 100% tips because I use them to get higher elo myself. These really will help in an immediate basis, but it's not going to be easy. Now, before I really get into this, I want to reiterate, these are not easy ways. These take hard work and a lot of time. I'm not selling a silver bullet or a secret little tip that nobody else has heard of. I'm advising you on a work plan. If you follow the work plan, I can 100% assure you will increase your elo drastically, but it all depends on how much work you put into it. The same with everything in life. Now for the tips. Number 1, mindset tip. Attitude. This is going to be the first out of 2. It's cliche starting with the mindset point, but it's the most important. For your attitude, you must have a combination of 2 things. First, you must never blame any other player, and second, you must have a learning mindset. I'm covering these separately. First, I'm going to be covering attitude. Blaming other players is pointless in League of Legends. It's more pointless than a butter knife. Blame only limits you as a player. As soon as you start blaming other people, you're not focusing on yourself and you're limiting yourself. You have to remember there's no other variable you can change but yourself, so blaming is entirely worthless. As soon as you get blame out of your head, you immediately start learning more about the game and you drastically start getting better. If you've even recently went into chat and said, hey, it's this person's fault, or you're in TeamSpeak or Skype and said to your friends, it's this person's fault 100%, I played perfectly, it's his fault, only his fault we've lost, you probably don't have a great mindset. You have to have a better one than that. You've got to say to yourself, everything else is my fault. I have to basically try and improve myself as a player. I have a video on the topic which will be linked below, but first and foremost, immediately get the mindset right. Don't blame anyone else, only blame yourself. Number 2, mindset, willing to learn. This is the second point. Every game you have something to learn. Find out ways why things went well. Find out why players went wrong. Every time something is done, even by other players, so Warwick went top lane, why did that work? Ask yourself, why did it work? Xenian tank top lane works. Why? Was it just the matchup? Or does it conceptually work? Bot lane, Caitlyn, Karma, they just cheese level 3 me. Now I know they can do that, but why did it work? Can I replicate that success? Every single good implied play, ask yourself what you could have done better if you made any mistakes at all. And if something went well, ask yourself, why did it go well? Why did that function perfectly? In what circumstance? Why is our comp better than their comp? How did we win this game? Was it a pick? Was it just I team fought really right there? How did I team fight that fight? How did I survive against that really fed Zed? Normally the answer is pretty simple, but learning and correlating the correct answer with the incorrect one is the best way 100% of gaining elo. I know a lot about this game, but even I still focus every single game on learning and improving. And just after playing a few games ago where I had a top laner who had no idea how the game worked in any way, shape or form, a Diamond 5 top laner. A little bit irritating, but I said to myself, right, what could I have done that game? The guy cost us the game in terms of concept, but I didn't really dwell in that. I said, listen, this is my fault though. I could have won us this game in some way though. Just because he's playing bad does not mean anything. I've got to improve myself. I've got to learn. And I've got to just win every game. So next game, I'm going to be a little bit smarter. I'm going to know why things went wrong, and I'm going to know why things went right. Whereas that top lane player won't learn as much, which means in turn, I will start improving. Always be willing to learn in League of Legends. It's one of the most important things about it. If you do that, you will uncategorically increase elo and increase just generally your skill level. Number 3, learn how to CS in custom practice. Now, this is my biggest tip. Out of all of them, this is the most simply fixed and the one that probably increases the most elo. I'm not talking about CSing okay, getting, most of them. I'm not talking about CSing well, getting 70%. I'm talking about getting 90% of all minions, assuming you're in the lane. Losing a minion every 2 to 3 waves is okay, it's fine. Assuming you're in the lane, that's fine. Maybe losing 2 is okay. Depends on your champion, of course. But if you learn how to CS, you will 100%. I am telling you right now, if you learn how to CS perfectly, you will gain elo. It doesn't matter what elo your bracket you're in, unless it's master tier. This is surprisingly one of the best tips for gaining elo. More CS means more gold. More gold means more items. More items means more game dominance. More game dominance means more games won. More games won means more elo. I really can't emphasize this point enough. Practice CSing until you're blue in the face, until you're amazing at it. If I put a bronze 5 player who could CS like a pro but was bad at everything else, they couldn't be bronze. They'd be silver or gold. Say they played I'd say they played Tristana and they CS perfectly, yet they're very bad at the game. They could just right click and dominate everyone in bronze because they wouldn't have anywhere near the items. Just because they've got the item advantage, they'd win. So to practice this, go into a custom game by yourself, CS for the first 10 minutes, leave the game. You can do this without any penalty. You go into customs and there's no penalty at all. Then do it again. If you do this on your main character, you'll immediately get more items quicker, instantly improving elo. Go into a custom by yourself, play 10 minutes, leave, or 8 minutes, or whatever you feel comfortable with, until you're perfect. Now look at professional level play. They can CS not just well but perfectly. Have you ever wondered where all of that CS comes from? Because they don't miss one. Look at Diamond and Plat play. They CS better than the ones lower. This is the most obvious yet simple way in the differentiation between a good and a really good player. No bullshit, go into customs after this video, suck it up, a couple of hours of practice, and that's all you'll ever need to do, assuming you don't quit League for a month. That's all you'll need to do and you'll be absolutely fine. Number 4, 2 roles, 2 champions. In terms of queuing, find 2 main roles and 2 main champions, and 1 backup for each. This is the most effective formula in winning the most amount of games. A very small champion pool mastered will allow you to win a lot more games. Try to avoid being a jack of all trades, in short. A champion pool with a small role pool is heavily important. You have to master a champion to be your elo horse. Get a champion you're so good with and you've played so much with that you just, no matter, even in a counter matchup, you'll do well. My elo horse was Veigar. I've got an 80% win rate over 35 games. It's not that amazing, but it's good. I also play Nivea, great win rate on her too. I have a very, very small champion pool, and I abuse this because I would play Nivea. I was playing versus a jack of all trades, and I destroyed him because I'm so apt, even in a counter matchup, I was so apt versus them that he couldn't take me. Like Veigar versus Fizz is a matchup the Veigar should lose, but because I played so much of Veigar, the guy didn't really have a chance. I knew my capabilities absolutely perfectly, which just meant in turn I can gain elo from that. It seems like a very, very simple way of doing it, and of course it is, but it's such an effective strategy. Just make sure you're playing 2 champions and 2 roles. Do you have a backup for each? I've got a video of this below which I do explain which is the best playstyle, and you can see that there. Number 5, find OPs and use them. OPs stand for overpowered. This point is for one of those who struggle to gain elo. This is a really nice way, especially if you don't really deserve the elo you want to get, like currently because you're learning. This is a really nice way to get it up. Check sites, check streams, ask friends in your games if you see a cheese quote-unquote champion come out. Cheeses sometimes turn into OPs, so have a look and see if they are overpowered. Or just in your game, if you find anything that seems to be overpowered, try it out yourself. If you find it is overpowered, grind 1 day of normals, there's tons of games in that one champion, then jump into ranked ASAP. OPs are usually banned out or picked heavily in around 5 to 7 days. Normally, an OP can stay under the radar for this time and be heavily, heavily abused. Tank Echo got so many free games before he got banned out and nerfed that the people, I know someone on my stream played that guy till they were blue in the face again, and they gained so much elo. They went from high silver to plat 5 just with Tank Echo. As soon as Tank Echo was nerfed, they went down immediately, and they couldn't. Then they found the next OP, which is Tank top lane Fizz, Bruiser top lane Fizz, and they went right back up, and then they started dropping down. They basically get their elo off abusing overpowered champions, which is fun. It's a strategy. There's perfectly not a problem with that. This is a surprisingly important point, especially for top laners and mid laners, but the most abusable, but it works for all points, of course. Just keep your eyes in the distance and don't be scared of abusing champions to gain elo. If you don't, someone else will. I abuse Veigar and Anivia's win rates, potential win rates to much success, and there's free ways to gain elo. Number 6, play against good or better players. If you have the chance of capability, play against better players than yourself. Now try to limit this. Don't play against diamonds if you're bronze, but try to play versus golds. Try to play versus like maybe very low plats. You could still do it. I personally love playing against master tier or diamond ones on my stream, and I always get challenged. They play better than I do, but I'm trying to keep up and sometimes even beat them on the rare occasion. Swimming against massive waves just improves your ability to swim far greater than swimming in a sheltered harbor, which would never really help anyone to the same degree. Put yourself into those waves, try to fight against a more difficult environment, and you should drastically improve. Being outclassed to a decent degree is a good thing. Now, being outclassed massively, of course, I want to reiterate, is a bad thing, but try to get that middle ground. If you're bronze, try to go gold. If you're gold, you can play versus high plats, maybe diamonds. It allows you to see what you're doing wrong and improve to meet the challenge. This is especially good on opponent point if you're playing with friends, for example. So if you've got a couple of, platinum friends and you're like bronze, maybe you can play with them in normals and they'll give you advice as well. It's a really helpful thing. Number 7, spectate your own games. This is a good tip to help see small improvements. So when you're playing a game, it's actually pretty hard to understand and look at your own side and say, what did I do wrong this game? Oh damn, I seem to be 0-5. What did I do wrong here? Because when you're playing, you've got to focus, of course. If you've had a good or bad game, I check out my Baron replay to see what I did correctly or what I did wrong. I sometimes open it up and I'm surprised to see I went a certain place or I made a very stupid mistake, because I can analyze the gameplay without actually having to focus on the game, which helps me see my good and bad decisions, understand what happened and what I maybe could have improved upon. A couple of games ago I seen that I roam a bit too much when I don't push the lane out enough, and it's something I didn't really notice until I basically opened up the replay and was like, oh yeah, damn, I do that, because you can notice your position. It's a really good, nice strategy, especially if you're at the start of your learning environment. Usually people stop spectating their own games once they get around, platinum or so, but honestly, it's a really good strategy just before that as well. Number 8, play loads. This point will of course have a knock-on effect with the rest. You have to play loads in League of Legends. Doing a lot of anything will make you good at it. This goes without saying, and this of course extends to League of Legends. The more you play, the more you learn. The more you play, the more experience mechanically you get. The more you play and the more you learn, the more talented you get as a player, and you get a more fluent play style and a smoother mindset, and generally your mechanics will get sharper. Everything just improves really drastically. The more a player plays, the better and higher elo they are, just generally speaking, and statistically speaking, the more you play, the higher elo you're meant to be. So usually it takes people a few years to get to diamond. Of course there are exceptions, but generally speaking. So the more you play, the better you're going to get, and the quicker that improvement will become. Getting really good at League of Legends does take a long time. It takes a lot of games. Practice every single game, learn every single game, practice out of CS, and try and just grind your way to be better. Number 9, have fun. So I'm going to sort of end in a cliche. Good job, Scrap. To improve, you must be having fun or enjoy the game. If it ever gets to the point where you're getting annoyed or irritated, you won't learn or improve in any real way. When humans get annoyed or irritated, they use mammalic or reptilian sides of their brain, and which essentially means you won't be able to process or use any sort of high-level thought process. So try to avoid playing angry or irritated or just annoyed in general, because you won't learn anything, you won't improve, and you're just going to play worse. Just go off and take a bit of a breather, relax a wee bit. Always the right thing to do. Try to avoid pushing through it. When you're irritated, your ability to learn just plummets to the absolute depths of the ocean. So keep it cool and always enjoy the game. After all, it's what the game is for. You can learn and have fun as well, and there's really nothing wrong with that. A note I just wanted to mention at the very end here, normal games are also a really nice way to basically get a little bit better at the game. So essentially, a lot of people force ranked. Practicing in rank can be very difficult because it's a very highly pressured scenario essentially. So what you kind of want to do is you want to go into normals if you can and just try and practice up your champions, just so it's a not a pressure environment, especially when learning a new champion or if you're very new to the game. Don't rush into ranked at all. Try to basically be really relaxed, try to keep it calm, and then move onwards from there. And that's it for the video, guys. Hope you liked. If you like it, dislike it, disliked. If you like the content, you can subscribe. And I think it's horrible and total garbage here, and I'm totally wrong, you can unsub. I am totally fair. I also stream at Twitch TV, guys. The link will be in the low bar. Hopefully I'll see you there. Beyond that, guys, after selling my soul, have a great day, best of luck on the Rift, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you very much for watching.